Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Peace Talk, episode 159 to be exact. We are back. I want to welcome the Tyson Etienne to the $1 Billion Vibe Tribe. Welcome, brother. Um, Shout out to Morgan, who's just commented. Everyone who's tuning in now, whether you watch the replay or not, welcome. This is episode 159 of Peace Talk. You might have seen this episode be kind of rescheduled a lot. Scheduling conflicts, that's really more my fault too. But I'm actually glad we got to do this now because yeah, timing's on point, and trust me, I have a really dope guest for you. All right. Um what even inspired this was I saw his Instagram, and I don't know if he had sent me the message, or I had chanced on it. We had connected on Instagram, and he has this amazing system that I'm not going to reveal too much about, but I think you're going to find very interesting. So, uh, shout out to Blue Flame, who's in a hot bath. Shout out to Banshee. Shout out to the King Goat Nathaniel. Okay. Awesome. Shout out to you, Bonnie. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the one, the only Prince of the Air. What's good,
Yo,
bro?
it was good. Long time listener, first time caller. Very excited to be here on the show.
That's
Very
what's
excited
up.
to talk about, uh, I guess, everything that I've been working on. And well, I guess, how can we really get into this? How can I really start this?
Well, before you do, where are you at?
Oh, I am located here in the Valley of the Sun in Tempe, Central Arizona.
Okay.
I guess I should maybe do a quick briefing. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, of course.
Yeah, please.
Um,
Let us know what's up.
my full name is Isaiah Matthew Torres Diaz. I was born here in Central Arizona, but I've spent some time in Southern California and Nevada as well.
Nice.
And what else can I say about myself? Well,
What's your?
in my spare
Oh, go ahead.
time, I like to box. I like to dance. I like to do all manner of silly things.
What's your sun, moon, and rising?
So my sun is I'm a Libra sun, I'm a Scorpio moon, and I'm a Leo rising.
Oh, main character, Leo Rising. There we go. That makes
So
sense. I was about to
of course,
say,
I got the Taurus.
right. I
I
saw
had
the
the
quote. I was like, there we go. You can't represent. Okay, I appreciate that. Knowing you Libra Rising, you mad chill. That's the Leo Rising. You mad chill. That's the Libra. But I've been noticing the Scorpio Moon Libras. Y'all got the sauce. Y'all all got the sauce. Like props, mad props. Yeah, it's a very deep vibe. Like, what's it like having a Scorpio moon? Because I'm pretty sure you have Pluto on your moon.
Well, I guess the best way I can describe what that would be like having a Scorpio moon is it's almost like feeling like, dang, I think I know what this person's on, but then again, I might just be crazy. Like,
That's what I appreciate about Libra, because Scorpio will feel that, but they'll never admit they probably crazy. They'll be like, "No, stop activating." But Libra's like,
it's
"Wait, I
like,
have
nah,
logic."
just wait, hold on. Like, let's weigh it out.
No, but sometimes you super on point though, huh? Maybe more
No,
than sometimes.
the worst part is like most of the time it's like, damn, I was right.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
It's
Scorpio
like the
thing.
longest, most unsatisfactory I told you so.
Yo, I love that. That's amazing. That's fucking amazing. Uh, and no. He's Leo rising. Leo rising, Scorpio moon, Libra sun. Shout out to Linus. Um, that's really dope, man. Because I was wondering what inspired the Prince of the Air moniker. So I was like, he has to be an air sign. I was thinking you were gonna say you
Yeah.
had Gemini, but
Well,
Libra's dope.
here's something about it here, and I'll even show you. So I
The
was
Prince of the
born.
Power of the Air is Venus, by the way. You were born what?
I was so okay. So last year, in the season of Gemini, right? I was actually baptized. So I was baptized under the sign of Gemini, and I have this tattoo to commemorate it.
Oh my god, that's so
I
awesome.
have a Libra tattoo on my other arm that I got on my 18th birthday. So it's the
That's so awesome. So you got baptized with the Archangel Michael energy too, because that's the
Hmm.
Aldebaran star. Yo, dude. Libra is my favorite sign. Libra and Sag are my favorite sign. So like y'all just have this like mad chill vibe. I just love talking to Libra sun, Libra energy, but I just enjoy talking to Libra suns because y'all are so fucking intelligent. And I appreciate knowing that now because the reason why I have you on here is first of all, the system that you even introduced, 99% of it went over my head. Like I only understood like a small percentage, but I understood enough to know you are more than on to something. So Isaiah's gonna get ready to bless you guys with so much powerful wisdom that I'm really looking forward to you kind of breaking this down. We don't have to rush into that. Were you born after 95?
I was born in 1999.
So you have Pluto Sag. Okay. New gen. We're getting blessed with the leader of the new school. 1999. You probably have Saturn and Taurus, huh?
Yes, I do.
So you're a builder of the new earth. I fuck with it. Oh, and okay, you got Saturn the 10th. Dude, you're awesome. That's so awesome. Okay. So yeah. Is there a name for the system you have? Because I know you incorporated like the sequence of an infinity and
Well,
the
I guess that's actually a good.
signal thing.
I haven't really come up with, I guess, a name of it. That's actually a really good question. I've just been
Okay.
calling it like the actual thing itself. I've been calling it like it's like a vortex math chart.
Vortex math. Yeah, yeah. It
Because
looks
like you
very
can
complex.
if you put like all the numbers together, like the six, the six, the six, and the 12s, like you get like a certain like reoccurrences of numbers, which are like numbers that like I wish I man I don't have my notes, but I think
Yeah,
they
there's
like
a way
message.
you showed it with the notes. I have it on Instagram.
Yeah, I believe I have it on Instagram. But necessarily like the numbers just reduced down to like numbers that are just correlate to certain things like or I can
There
just do
we
like
go.
math.
Yeah, I'm looking at the images now. I really appreciate it the equation is a means to explain how we intercept and perceive light, which allows us to create, hallucinate, manifest the reality we experience. But is there a way you are going to explain it or show the notes because
Well,
this shit is
I guess
genius, dog. Let me tell you. Let me show you.
so I can do this real quick. So we have so the first six, which here actually, funnily enough, so the first six, which would be at the beginning here on this side, right? Yeah, there we have it there. But the first six would be 6 a.m., right? Like as the sun is rising in Aries. Then it's the 12, which is Cancer, which is high noon, the most high. And then we have the middle, which is the equilibrium, where everything is even, which would be Libra, the calibration. And then we have the bottom 12, which is the solstice with Capricorn, which is the death. And then we have the six at the end, which is Pisces. It brings back around into Aries. It goes forward and it comes backwards. And that's
So
what,
the, so the,
so
so the end is Pisces. Oh, I see. So that's how you mapped Aries to Pisces with sequencing. Dude, this is genius, by the way. Like, I'm mind blown. And you're able to make an infinity symbol with it too.
yeah,
That is awesome.
it's also, it's like, basically it represents the I think it's pronounced the Enalima, which is like if you were to take a picture of the moon, like at the same spot, like every day, like over a span of the year, it would create a figure 8 pattern.
Wow.
But at the same time, it's like a means to represent. So the red line going into the blue line, this is basically 1 year or a day. And then the dotted lines, that would be like the passage that the moon is making and the basically like the shifts of the phases of the moon. But also it's supposed to explain like this, it's this pattern over in the great year, which is like a 2,500 year span.
Wow. You said the
And then
lines from the red to the blue is a year?
yeah, it's essentially supposed to be a year, like because we have this first bowl is the first 6 months, and then the blue one is the last 6 months.
Oh, dude, that's so awesome. Yeah, because Libra's in the middle. Okay, yeah. That's true.
But
I
at the
like
same
how you
time, it's
called
a
can
what was that?
my
I'm
bad.
sorry.
I like how you called Cancer the most high.
Well, that's like that's basically what it is, right?
In reference, yeah,
Because
that's really
you
interesting.
think about Cancer as necessarily like the child and the mother or the old woman. It's sort of like it's the 6 and the 9, right? Which is both of the principles together, which would be that masculine and that feminine principle.
Wow.
But
I'm trying
also
to see.
otherwise, I can even show you because my face paint is like the same thing, and like this also like will go into like some of the other aspects of it.
Right.
So as you can see here, like I have the red and then the blue, and then I have the purple
Oh,
cross here, you know, where everything crosses over, and then I have 4 little dots, which are to represent the phases of the moon. But what I want to about this part that's important. So the red here, this is again the first 6 signs, which would be the masculine, and I did this to line up with the left, like this side of my face, my head, my brain, or whatever, which would be the masculine side of that is the electrical side that is direct, creates, dictates action basically. Whereas on the blue side, this is where the feminine portion resides, which is the more magnetic portion, and then together they create the electromagnetic spectrum, which is the crossover.
the crossover is the line going down. Oh yeah. Dude, I hate to 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 kind of I don't want to sound like I'm flattering. You're fucking awesome, bro. This is lit. This is
Thank
why
you.
Libra is my favorite zodiac sign. Cause like I had the last Libra we had was Alyssa Sharp, and she made a whole algorithm that she introduced with like this is the type of intelligence I'm talking about. You guys are really pushing stuff forward with this. And I mean, clearly you're basing this off of the angles that we see. I really like how that goes in. I wanted to go more into like the Venus copper, the Saturn lead, Iron Mars, but I feel like what we can do is I definitely would love to invite you back because I mean there's just so much that can be expanded from this concept alone.
Yeah, and
And
that's basically my idea because I'll say like smartest guy in the world, and I'm not like the most like well versed as in terms of astrology. Like really, I did this as like a means like to basically try and teach myself like all these
mhm.
concepts and like to put it together in something that's neat, as well as like for people who because necessarily like the stigma around kind of a lot of these topics comes from a place of what we would call ignorance, but it's really more like nescience, where it's like people just don't know that they don't know. So it's
Nescience,
like
yeah.
how do you explain something to someone who doesn't know something without having to just like pile on a bunch of stuff on them? And that was really like the main goal with this is creating something that's kind of neat that can be taken and expanded upon. And that's why I call it like it's like a math chart because it's like an equation. So that somebody can take the equation and perhaps understand the equation better or in another way and then add on to the equation.
I think that's what I meant when I said that the 99% went over my head. Like I understood I really got how you did like the numbers thing that blew my mind, but I was lost on how to apply it. And that's what I appreciate between Libra and Gemini. I saw this in the Neil video. It's like as a Libra, you can take information and apply it real time versus going off of book knowledge or like you know what I'm saying? It's not limited or specific just to Libra, but I just kind of admire that capability. But yeah, that's really what I would love to kind of practice into. How do you apply a formula like the way you did on your face and with your art? It's see, and I love see knowing that you're a Libra or represent Libra with the Scorpio moon makes this even so much doper to me because it's you see the symmetry and balance with this, which is what makes an equation. So yeah, I have a lot of questions, but really the first thing I'm wondering is what's one of the first ways to apply this? Really, what's a good way to look at it?
Hmm. Well, I think the first way to apply this necessarily, how I've been using it is thinking like pondering mostly like with the moon phases and how they're aligning with the principles like within the chart itself. So like let's say the moon is like how it is now. So I would think about, okay, so if my chart is like a means to explain like how we're perceiving and processing this light, which is energy, which are these influences, then I necessarily would reflect like almost like where it is on the chart itself, and like where it aligns like principally like, and then this is where like the metals come in, like in the alchemical part of it, like which is the internal part of it. And that's mostly what it is, because the chart itself is necessarily like it kind of expands into a lot of stuff. Like it's supposed to look like a, you know, a DNA double helix. So
Ooh.
thinking about it, like what I'm, how I process this, like why I did it the way I did it, is thinking about how those particular energies at that particular time, like they're necessarily like going into your body at that particular time. And so I try to using that like get into that state almost, in order to like better understand that, in order to better understand basically my own actions and processes, and how I can align better with those energies to basically make stuff happen.
Okay, right. So the equation helps you do that real time, if anything, or just map or track it out.
Yeah, like, and that's actually like I want to expand on it. Like, you know, you ever, this might be like before your time, maybe after your time, I'm not sure, but like in school, like you know how you had those little like origami things where like you can move it. Like I want to make something like that. That's the chart, so like you can like open, like have it, and then like move it around, and then be like, all right, we're at this point right here. Like we're at this sign. Like we're being influenced by this energy, and it correlates with this metal. It correlates here. Like so this yada yada. Almost like basically like a tool to necessarily perform magic or manifest in real time.
Dude, I'm mind blown because that is literally the Saturn, Taurus, Pluto, Sag generate the builders of the new Earth. Because like I've always wanted context. I've researched it. It's like this is a whole new generation is going to create the new world. But like you're literally showing us the technology you're about to like create. This is dope. It's dope as hell. This is super dope. That really would be so cool. And it's dope because you know like there's going to be a lot more development and insight into that. I really look forward to you expanding on that. All power to you. I think you answered this right, but like what kind of, you mentioned you wanted to kind of like learn, but what inspired you to really reveal this or come into this? Obviously you know you're well researched, but yeah.
Well, I guess it kind of lends its like what lends itself to get here is me like living what I would call like a very strange life, in the sense like, so I was born like with like not like so much born with, but like a little after I was born, like I had this like super rare condition that like basically could have killed me, but like I had to like, and it was just really crazy how it all worked out. And then um that for a long time like kind of made me feel like some sort of immense strange sense of guilt, because it's like, man, I'm only really alive because of like these advents in like modern technology and science, and like I really shouldn't be here otherwise naturally.
Oh, that's
So
crazy. I never thought of it like that.
and
Yeah.
so I kind of like held that over my head for like a really long time, and like use it
Damn.
as a means to like put myself down and necessarily suppress myself, which kind of led me to at like a young age like really resent myself in a lot of ways. Like a lot of this really
Everything you're
came out
saying,
of,
everything you're saying perfectly describes Moon in Scorpio, opposite Saturn and Taurus, square Uranus and Neptune in Aquarius, which is just mind blowing. I have a question about that for you when you're finished, but like I just wanted to mention that.
and so a lot of that, a lot of it came from me like basically desperately wanting to break out of that and to actually like be fulfilled in a sense, because along with that like I've kind of grown up without a sense of what I would call like personal or necessarily cultural identity. Like not like everywhere I would go, because moving around a lot, you become so accustomed becoming the new kid, the this or that. You know, I worn a lot of faces in like my very short period of time, and that kind of like led me to not being able to, I guess, understand myself to a certain degree, which lends itself to like that part of the this feeling of alienation and like internalized resentment. So
Yeah. Deep
letting
as
that
fuck.
completely destroy me, I necessarily use that as fuel to find out on like what necessarily the truth is, or rather what part of like where I fit in this piece of the puzzle that we all make a part of,
Yeah. No,
which is
you
the mystery.
you taught me a lot right now. Like there's a lot you took from theory to fact for me, and I appreciate you so much. Like the Saturnian guilt opposite your moon in Scorpio, I would have never even seen it to look at it like that. That is so fascinating because I've been personally wanting to look into I've been personally wondering about the advent of technology, like how much is too far? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, not that it's necessarily good or bad, but like I didn't realize back in the day, most people would die around 30, 40. Obviously, the advent of medicine wasn't as lucrative, but the way you said what you said is just so deep. Obviously, you were meant to be here, right? But it's still very interesting. And the question that I have around you, you know, we know that as a Leo rising, you are the new generation version of Cancer risings born in the early 90s and Gemini risings born in the 80s. So you have Neptune and Uranus in your seventh house. And that's one of the most advanced seventh house DC placements. Um, you have this T square your moon, which is opposite your Saturn. But my question for you is I had theorized that to have that as a Leo rising is this supernaturally claircognizant knowing about whoever you're talking to or whoever you're with. You kind of mentioned it when you said you're usually always right, but like, you know, what is that experience like? Pluto, Saturn's gone through it, Pluto's gonna awaken it, but like, is it just like an instant knowing, or how do you experience that?
I guess I would to describe what you're talking about. I would explain that as like initially, like I make contact with somebody, or I just see like what somebody's doing, like through let's say video or just through their actions or otherwise, and then I'm like, I guess I think I know what this person is about. And a lot of the times, like to my own, honestly, to my own misgivings, like probably because of the Libra sun, I'm very given into being like maybe I'm mistaking this person. Maybe
You
this
give them the
person
benefit of
is
the doubt.
I give everyone the benefit
Yeah,
of the doubt.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes I'm right to do so because sometimes I can like I lean into my own sense of judgment, which comes from I guess blockages and preconceived notions like we all do. But then sometimes it's like, well, that is just something that's true, but it has I guess more to do with the fact that a lot of people otherwise haven't necessarily broken through out of those same things from within themselves. So it's almost like there's an invisible wall that's created.
I like that. And invisible. I really like invisible wall because Neptune and Uranus are invisible. So you literally that was perfectly said. It's but like I kind of wanted to highlight that it's not even like a feeling, it's just like a knowing. And because it's in Aquarius too, it trines your Libra sun. So it's like I don't know. It's very advanced. I know it's the quality of it is going to even skyrocket more intensely and extremely. So I'd be very interesting in all y'all generation, like have that because the Capricorn is the greatest part. So Cancer risings born in the early 90s and late 80s with Uranus and Neptune and Capricorn. Basically, I understand it because my moon is there. So like with moon on Neptune, Uranus, and Cap, people can do anything. And like I will gain psychic information that's not physical. It's just intuitive based on how they move their mannerisms. And like you, my Gemini would give people the benefit of the doubt, but I'd always be right. It's like, damn, I don't want to be right about that. But and I think it's just because being in that mental space, we see things as they truly are, and not really point out how things really are. Like maybe Virgo will point out flaws or whatever. But basically, the Capricorn Cancer risings with Uranus and Neptune in the seventh in Capricorn, when people do things, they gain psychic insight on the integrity of someone's character based on the actions. So I felt like the Aquarius version is more advanced to where that person doesn't even have to do anything, you already know. And now everything they do confirms what you know. So it's just very mind blowing to me. But it'd be interesting to see what happens when Pluto goes through. And yeah, awaken that so much further. But yeah, apparently you look familiar spiritually. All right.
You know what's really funny about that comment is so much when I'm just walking the street, and obviously I don't always walk around like this. Sometimes I do, but
Your
when
North
I'm
Node is a
walking,
Leo.
yeah.
Holy shit, that's crazy. 99. Dude, that's wild. You come from the ancient future. My bad. Please go ahead. That's what that comment
But
also.
it's funny that comment because a lot of times when I'm walking around, a lot of people will stop and be like, "Hey, like, do I know you from somewhere?"
Ooh, that's
They'll be
deep.
like, "Oh, I thought did I see you here? Like, you do this, you do that." And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." But I must just have that kind of face.
No, I love that, and that I think describes a Leo rising too. I mean, not to explain everything that has to be specific to a transit, right? But like, I'm just really excited because I really do feel. First of all, I was gonna say as a Leo rising, like most Leo suns and Leo risings, I'm very connected. My South Node is in Leo, so definitely we got some past life brother action going on. But I noticed that people who have opposite nodes, we've definitely been in each other's lifetimes. I have this with my mom. Anyone who you may know with North Node Aqua, that's really dope. So I kind of appreciate that. The V for Vendetta face. I kind of appreciate that as far as like how things kind of came together. Phoenix Tears Oracle said, have you ever come across someone who did that to you, could read your energy? How did you feel in the moment? Did it feel like a pull? That's a really good question.
Well, I've had some very strange interactions in that regard. Actually, like a lot of people, like there's been a few people who come up and told me, like there was this one time I used to work at a convenience store, and there was this random dude who came in one time, and he was just like, I can tell when I look into your eyes, like you're an honest person, you mean what you say, and you say what you mean, and you're about what you do. And he told me like, and I respect that, and you just have to keep being you because you're gonna lead the next generation.
He said that?
Yeah,
Bro, you are literally the leader of the new school. Like you're one of the leaders in the new school. That shit is crazy. Like it's really
very
amazing.
recently, very recently, I actually had like this super, super duper duper strange interaction, I suppose you could say. So to preface this, I was at like a mall one time with my brother, and we just saw this dude dancing like in the mall, and like he wasn't really bothering anybody. He was just doing his own thing. But they like called the security out on him, right? And then we were like, well, that's kind of messed up, you
Right.
know. But I remember him, so I would then see him like riding the bus every now and then he would just like be going about his day. And then one time I was waiting at a bus stop, and he came and approached me, and he started talking to me. And then at first he was just like, he just wanted me to play some music. So I was like, all right, I'll oblige him. So I just played some songs. We just sat there and listened to it. And then he looked at me and was like, you got an old soul. Like I can tell. And
Wow.
then he told me one thing he told me was that like all the angels were jealous of me because I had what he called like the full body, right? And he wanted to really stress like remember that God is within you and you are within God. Like remember that. Like I want you to really remember that. And so we got on the same bus, and then after we got off, he came approached me again, and then he kept telling me, he's like, you remember, right? Like I want you to remember. And then he told me like you are 3.5 billion years old and like all this other stuff like that. Me and him had like a soul connection,
Yeah.
and that I was gonna have to basically like he told me I had to lead the men and women of this earth against what he described as a thermonuclear war. Like however in which way I guess that's supposed to be taking, I couldn't necessarily.
Exactly how it sounds, brother. Y'all generation is like it's next level. Like and every like by the time you come in your Saturn return next decade, like everything's gonna hit so fast. So I mean, there's someone wanted to ask, why did you choose the Prince of the Air? But one thing that you taught me again is I have Moon conjunct Saturn. You have Moon opposite Saturn. Capricorn Moon and Scorpio Moon are old souls, but I think you confirm the opposition to Saturn does add a lot of maturity and uh quality to your soul. But yeah, I really felt with the name Prince of the Air, you really do encapsulate that. And was that related to your baptism, or was it something else that inspired that?
Well, I guess it wasn't necessarily related to the baptism because I had like realized like after a certain point, I'm like, well, that's kind of like sort of true, like because of like me being born in the sign of Libra and then happen to be baptized in the sign of Gemini, and then like getting like how they're both necessarily like the signs that are like the that duality. And as far as conceptually, like I always felt like that sort of like encapsulates the notion of the prince of the powers of the air,
The Prince of the
which
Power of
is
the Air. Yep. Lucifer
mhm, which
or
is like
Venus.
the morning star and the evening star, right?
Right.
Which is almost
Yeah.
like it's like two sides that create like a this the single, and in a lot of ways it's like it's again like it comes back to this aspect here where it's like you have the light and then you have the dark, and then you have where all things meet, which is between the light and the dark. And that's necessarily that's the air, right? Like that would be Libra, the equilibrium between all that. And in a lot of ways, like I never felt otherwise as like being too much over here, being too much over here, just necessarily kind of more in my own like up. It was always sort of up in the air for me in a way.
Okay. Which
So
once again,
this was
go ahead. Go ahead.
so this was just sort of like a means to necessarily empower me like within that dynamic.
And I appreciate you bringing up Venus. Um, is your Venus before your? Do you have the evening star or the morning star in your chart?
I'm not exactly sure.
Let me see. Where's Venus in your chart?
I have my Venus is in Virgo, and I can't
You
remember what
got the
house it's
morning
in.
star. You got the morning star. So when Venus is behind your sun, it's a morning star, and then when it's after your sun, it's the evening star. I have a morning star too. And then is your north node in the first or 12th?
I think it's in the first.
Awesome. So that's just mind blowing. So you're an instrument of destiny, which anyone who I ever see North Node on the rising, especially in the main character sign of Leo, like you're important. You're super important. Like you're literally destiny. And then you have Saturn in the 10th, which is just ridiculous. And you come from the ancient future. I love saying that South Node Aquarius with Uranus and Neptune, like that is bonkers. Like I believe everything they said about you. Like it would make sense that someone from the ancient future is billions of years old. So, I mean, it's just really mind blowing. I watch a lot of anime and sci-fi and like fantasy, and so you kind of, to me, I feel like you don't even exist according to science. Like you just exist in science fiction or fantasy. So it's really dope
Yeah, I
to
sort
see.
of exist outside of the bounds of space and time, right? Almost a lot like Mercury.
Do you exactly? Do you know your moon degree?
No, I don't think I know my moon degree.
Okay, that's cool. To see something, but yeah, I mean, um I was gonna ask, how do you balance the intensity of how deeply you feel as a Scorpio moon?
I think, and I guess necessarily by doing things like what you see here now, in terms of like personal expression, or even like the creation of the chart itself. Because otherwise, like I constantly ponder, like basically, like, am I just like caught up in a delusion? So I do certain things to, I guess, necessarily try and generate certain results to, in some way, try to validate my intuition. Because otherwise, like, it's almost like it stays like locked up like in my head, and it needs to like come out in some way and express itself, and
Yeah.
it needs to be pushed out into the world to and like to draw something in for me to be like, okay, like that's that's relieving.
Do you feel like the opposition to Saturn is very inhibitive? Like you're emotionally constipated, or does it balance that intensity out?
I think it can be a little inhibiting. Like I know oftentimes people have like told me that like I'm rather cold or disconnected, and a
Ooh,
lot
that's
of the
deep.
times like I do necessarily like I do resonate with that, and definitely when people have like um, lobbied that criticism, however constructive it may be at me, I've been like, well, that's actually pretty valid, and that is another main reason I guess why I've done what I've done and am doing what I'm doing currently as a means to try and break through that. Because a lot of the times, what I experience is like coming back to this concept of the invisible wall. I often feel like that wall is like put in place necessarily like out of my own doing, even if I'm not like actively being like I'm trying to put up a wall, I'm trying to put up a wall, I'm trying to put up a wall. It just comes about out of that like there's a that sense of disconnect where it's like the way I guess I view myself is in such a, as I said, like a alarmingly negative way, or like a very like like almost like an imposter syndrome type of thing, to a degree where it's like I kind of don't want to like open up myself so much because I'm afraid of what how others will interpret it.
Yeah, exactly. Almost as if you fear the misinterpretation of it and having to explain
Mm-hmm.
yourself more. I feel you on that. Yeah, that's deep. Wow. And then, of course, the South Node has been unlocking your soul. So have you felt like more release with that, or
I've
what's
definitely
that?
felt more peace. I mean, I know basically a few years ago, hell, maybe even a few weeks ago, maybe even when I first, I guess, propositioned you with my material, I didn't
Mhm.
necessarily feel like I was ready or even like that I would do something like this. Because otherwise, like this is ironically like for as in character as this honestly is for me, this is actually super out of character for me.
Oh, that's wild. Okay.
Like even up to today, I was even like, should I even do the like
I'm so
really deep.
glad you did. Thank you. Like, you're the best dressed guest I've had on 159 episodes of Peace Talk. Of course, you be Libra, Leo rising too. I love that. That's awesome. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I would have never thought so. And um I was just like pulled to invite you on. I don't normally like to do that too, but yeah, I'm glad I did.
It's
And
funny.
thanks
I
for
was I was shocked, and I actually like I sent a message to one of my friends like when I just sent you all the messages before you even replied. I was like,
yeah.
look, I'm about to become friends with the peace dealer.
There you go. Manifestation. That's been happening to me a lot. Like people just like manifest to be and whatnot, which is dope. I really appreciate it because I'm open to meet a lot of dope, cool people. And that's what I was feeling too. Like as I was starting to talk to you, I was starting to see visions of collaborating and like when I'm able to make bigger moves and whatnot shortly, potentially. But yeah, that's what's up, man. Um, there's certain things I want to ask you around your supernatural abilities, but I heard your Scorpio moon be like, no, 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 let's keep that on the low for now. Not that you personally might be opposed to it, but I'm gonna just kind of we can revisit that later. Um, it's something that's definitely awakening for everyone still anyway. But yeah. Um, where do you feel like the next step is? And one thing I definitely want to reiterate for everyone watching, regardless of your age, but especially those of you born after 95, like there's no rush. This especially Saturn Taurus is like I feel like y'all development, you gave me hope right now, too, more than ever, that y'all development is going beautifully, like really dope. Keep up the great work, bro. What do you feel is the next stage? Because what's going to happen is y'all about to get handed the torch in by like the end of the decade and really move forward. So what do you see and feel collectively moving forward?
Well, I guess I can see it going two ways. I can see those among me who have not done, I think, the level of introspection and like personal work will necessarily like fall like deeper into this into what I guess the abyss, but not so much in the sense that we've seen previous generations. It's going to be more intensified, almost, if you will. Like, basically, it's going to be like one part of us will become, in a sense, angels, superheroes, and another part of us will become demons and supervillains.
Dude, you nailed it. The My Hero Academia generation. And the reason why y'all give me so much hope is you're starting to see like the evil in the industries and the fashion industry and the music industry where people who aren't even religious are like, damn, like this is satanic. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people are just kind of like losing hope, like, you know, what's gonna stand up to this? Like, are they gonna control us? And I don't think people realize y'all exist. Like, it's literally y'all. Y'all are gonna activate superpowers and take over the fucking world. And it's like, holy shit, like this, you right now doing this talking gives me a lot of hope. Because like it's one thing to theorize and see it, but then to meet people like you, like everyone who I've met so far in my generation, new generation, like we really on it, you know what I'm saying? But especially what y'all are bringing to the table, I'm just so fucking grateful. And you know, it's really awesome. There's still so much that's to yet to develop, and I can see how they're aiming for the kids. Like everything that they're doing is to really fuck up these kids. So you know, that's definitely something interesting to keep in mind. But let's play the three questions game where we'll take turns asking each other's questions. So you can start. You'll ask me a question, I'll answer, and then I'll ask you a question. You answer, and then we'll go again 2 rounds.
I guess I will start with a very easy one. What's your favorite color?
Oh, the first thing that came to mind was green.
Green. I
But
thought green.
you thought green? That's crazy.
I was thinking green.
Like when you said that, I just heard green. So I guess I
I
was
was
a tell.
green
That's crazy. So personally, I when my
because
long oh go ahead, go
because it's
ahead.
funny. Like whenever I think, like for some reason, I've like been making this association. Like whenever I think Gemini, I think about the color green.
Green, not blue, but green. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, my Gemini mom back in the day when I was a young kid asked me what my favorite color was. And I said red because I like the Red Ranger. And then she said her favorite color was green. And I said, oh, my favorite color is green now. So it was just green for the longest time. And now I started thinking, you know what? What is my favorite color? Like possibly I like blue, purple, black. But then I realized I don't have a favorite color. But to be completely honest, this green synchronicity, I feel like that's my spirit's favorite color. I'm gonna actually stick with that. I definitely do have an
Mm-hmm.
affinity here. And when I said that, I was looking at Danielle, who her name is green on here. The members here, the light shows green. So I really have fun telepathic synchronicities with Libras, where y'all will say things that I'm thinking in the moment, and I'll be like, "Did you read my mind? Did you say it?" Or I don't know. It's just really dope. But really dope synchronicities too. That's really powerful. But my question for you is, what do you feel? Because you mentioned something that aligns with a lot of premonitions many of us have had. I think you said something to the whole notion of you're leading people through a certain nuclear war or like something of that effect. Um, do you feel like that's something that's going to happen soon or like down the line, like Armageddon angel vibes?
Well, I suppose when we think about time and how time isn't necessarily non-linear,
True.
and time only, like when you think about time as a function or an object, like necessarily, time doesn't move at all. It's people that move. It's people that move time along. Like the
Yeah.
future now will be a past to someone
Facts.
else who's moving along. Like you think about the Industrial Revolution when they just first created something like a cotton gin. They were like, man, we are deep up in the future. But it was only because people were like, I'm gonna do this stuff to do this, that whether knowingly or unknowingly, the implication is that it's going to hyper accelerate the movement of things. Like
Right.
thinking about it in the sense of like basically, let's use a car, right? Like a car travels so fast, faster than a human being could ever possibly travel. Like what would take a couple days worth of foot travel can take a few hours in a vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's that cut through time, almost like that hyper acceleration that leads us to thinking that like we get on this track and then we must follow the track through. Like the track must be it's necessarily like this false sense of destiny, which is really just, we think about destiny. Destiny is just a destination, and a destination is where you get when you take a journey. So necessarily, we think about it in this terms. The journey is as we create it, because you have to take one step after the other to take a journey. And we think about it astrologically. So the feet, right? That's Pisces. That's the illusion. So the steps you take, the moves you make, that's what creates this dream, this reality, this hallucination that we all collectively share. So it's just a matter of, do people necessarily want to march further towards nuclear nuclear war and basically point the finger just for the point to point the finger, or does everybody actually want to collectively realize that they are in control?
So beautiful. That was amazing. That was really amazing. I love that. And I'm gonna save this for the second question. But yeah, we are on round two.
So what was the deciding factor for you to want to become an astrologer? Because I think you mentioned before that you were kind of like more along the lines of like a traditional like within traditional religion beforehand.
I
So
wanted to be a pastor.
yeah, and that's super interesting, because necessarily you have become a pastor, like.
Right. It's crazy. I came back full circle, but I just did it. I kind of, you know how Saul became Paul?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. I feel like the reverse though. In like the real way, but like kind of reverse. Like I'm now witnessing the Christians like, hey, astrology is the truth. But like not really like doing that. But that was how it started. Like I wanted to learn Christian apologetics and be able to fearlessly like apologize the Christian faith, and people who had religious, differences can understand them. People who had scientific differences, and that was when in studying the historicity of the Bible, I was like, this ain't it. It's crazy though, because now I still have I've restored my faith and respect in the Bible. It's just not something that I look at as inerrant and infallible in the way that it is. I feel like the essence of the Bible is very important. And of course, it's the most esoteric treatise on astrology in the way that's supposed to be read. But what brought me along this journey, thankfully astrology restored my understanding of Christ. The Bible introduced it to me, but it was astrology that helped me truly understand it and approach it back. But what made me want to become the peace dealer, before this, I was fascinated with personality profiling. And in college in 2008, when I was going to school in University of Maryland in College Park, I got introduced to Myers-Briggs, and it blew my mind. Introverts, sensory, judgers, you know what I'm saying? I was an INFP or INTP. And at the moment, I was like, this is amazing, but it's not complete. You know what I mean? Like, it's really dope. There's an understanding I can get into this, but it's just missing something. It's not complete as a system that allows me to really peer to know someone. But that's not how I felt about it at the time. It was just still like, okay, it's something I can look forward to. Fast forward to now where I joined Soul Garden because after being disillusioned, there's a whole two stories in between this. But and I'll probably make a special video for this. But personally, after I joined this group, when I had gotten my natal chart read from David Palmer, who's now the Leo King, and of course the legend Christopher Witecki, that was the first time I saw the concept of anything beyond your sun sign. And I'm looking at people who've never met me a day in my life give me like deep, like read my life. And I felt chills all over my body. And upon realizing the concept of a natal chart, the first thing I felt was like, damn, like this is it. Like everything that I felt Myers-Briggs didn't have, this had, and you can also integrate Myers-Briggs in full into it. So it's just, when you start on this journey, it just like you get so much epiphanies and everything. And I just had this insatiable desire to learn and master the system as soon as possible. And every day to this day, I'm still learning, but like it was just kind of the spirit pull that just kind of is like, this is it. I have to master this, I have to learn this. And it's been an amazing journey ever since. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm talking to the Prince of the Air and we out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. That's really what's good. But yeah, that's what I would say did it. Really just getting an astrology reading for the first time and having my mind expanded. Ironically, Jupiter was in Gemini, so it expanded my mind. Yeah. So my next question for you is, thank you, Echoist. Um, you mentioned this, okay? Shout out to Archangel Michael, by the way, my dude. Peace talk coming soon with him and his sister. But other than that, you mentioned, society kind of, which is the truth, the wheats and the tares. The outpouring of spirit is what he had referenced, guys, by the way, where we're going to see everyone kind of come into more ability and power, but it's like more extremely polarized, angels and demons. Could you kind of elaborate more on that as far as what is your experience with angels? You got 11th house Gemini, you're definitely celestial, you come from the ancient future. So like, I can imagine your relationship with the angel clan, especially where someone is saying that other angels have been jealous of you. I can believe that. What's up with that? What's your relationship with the angels?
Well, I think I'm in good standing, I suppose you could say. I've always been I've always been outstandingly lucky, or like even if I'm necessarily put in like bad positions, it just always seems to work out for me. Or what a lot of the times what I often feel like I experience in terms of like if we want to talk synchronicities, and it's almost like I'll be like going about doing whatever it is I'm doing, and then it's like something will just be like, here you go, like take this basically. Like the way I can feel it now is almost like a video game where it's like
Yeah,
the game is
I like
here. You like
like a
this. So this
RPG.
exactly like so these
Yeah.
feathers here like these. So the Gemini season this year, like the first day of Gemini season this year, these feathers started like just showing up for me. The first one is
Wow.
I opened up the door to my house and there was just a feather right there. And since then, like I
Wow.
have like a bunch of feathers. Like I've just been collecting them, like because they just appear all around me. And then this stick actually I found last week. I don't know if you can really see it. I like did put some string on it, and then I have more feathers on it.
Okay.
This stick just appeared, and before that I was like, I really want just like a staff, like a walking stick. I just think it'd be super cool.
Yeah.
Have my own like caduceus staff, and then lo and behold, this stick just appears like not too far from me. And then
Wow.
this cloak was given to me as a gift, like, and I knew when I got it, I was like, I I need to do something with that because it's just like some sort of piece of cloth. Like I don't even think it's meant to be worn,
Okay.
but I just something was telling me like, oh, you have to wear that. And then the first time I tried, like I put it on, and that was actually the first time I was like, I just had some like, I don't even think I had like face paint or anything. I just had some markers, and I was like, and then I looked at myself and I was like, whoa, hold on, like this was like months ago. And then since then I've just been kind of
After Gemini
elaborating this whole.
season. After
Yeah,
Gemini season.
this was all during Gemini season.
During Gemini. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Wow.
Like it just like something happened during this Gemini. That's also when I like really like when I like first initially developed the formula. Like something just like I think it was around basically my 1 year birthday, which was June 18th.
That's my
Like
mom's
something just
birthday.
like whoa,
Yeah.
so, something just like clicked for me. Like and I was like, wait, hold on, and then like all this information almost like came in like synchronized in my head in such a way that I was like, whoa, hold on, and then that led to the development of my of the formula. And there's something I haven't even gotten into yet that we've been talking this whole time is using like some of these principles of the chart. I've actually created a symbol, and here I actually have it behind me. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's on this
Oh, there
jacket.
we go. That's
But
awesome.
I have this
Yeah.
symbol I
Wow.
created.
Dude, that's awesome. The energy I feel from that is freaking regal.
I call it the Holy
Wow.
Grail.
Wow. It even looks like an hourglass with an infinity over it.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Because it's also
Dude.
supposed to represent the passage of the sun through the ecliptic as well. It's it's the sun and the moon coming through and coming back around again, which is time. It's the red shift and the blue shift of alternating currents and direct currents of electricity, of magnetism, which create the electromagnetic spectrum, which is
Wow.
the grail. And the grail itself is also, if you look at it, it's like two arms, two legs, and basically it's a person, or rather
Yeah.
like the form, the image, the shape of a man, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's
Dude, this
also
is
supposed to be,
awesome. Holy shit.
this is, so here's the X here, which is, this X is supposed to represent a Taurus field. And then here
Okay.
is like the horizon line, which is like the diameter. And what's funny about this is like, so this is a Taurus field. My one of my last names, because I have a hyphenated last name, is Torres, which comes from the word tower, or Torre, which is the Taurus, which is like the tower, the spiral, right? Which is the spirit or the spine or the spear. And my other last name is Diaz, which is Dia or Dio, which is the diameter.
Oh. Dio?
And also, yeah, like Dia, like DIA, which would be also Dio,
Oh,
like DIA.
Dia.
They're the same.
Okay. I thought D. Oh, not Dios, but Dio. Okay.
Uh-huh. And also, it's the X and then the I, which is 13. And so 13 is supposed to be an unlucky number, or what they call the number of rebellion.
Right.
But the 10th letter of the alphabet is J, and the third letter of the alphabet is C. So that would be JC, like Jesus Christ.
Right.
You
What
know,
third letter and
The
the
Christos.
alphabet? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's freaking awesome. Um, which once again I appreciate with the Leo rising and the light literally shining on you. So massive superhero vibes I see. I would think that Scorpio moon maybe might would you consider yourself an anti-hero or a hero? I don't really
You
like the
know,
whole hero villain concept.
I've actually pondered this concept a lot, especially kind of recently, where I was like, again, even coming along with the whole Prince of the Air thing, because the Prince of the Air is also like connotations of Lucifer, who's necessarily supposed to be, I guess, like as the connections with
It
Satan,
could it could
Samael.
also it could also be Archangel Michael or Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. Yeah.
and that's the thing, because Samael and Michael, they're like counterparts
Twins.
to each other, one of
Yeah.
the same coin. This also makes me think about the concept of Solomon. You know, Solomon, the sun and the moon, and how
Oh.
we have the two pillars, right? The Boaz and Yashin, which are mercy and severity. And in
Yeah.
between mercy and severity, we find the soul of a man and his temple. And ultimately, what that is wisdom, right? It's wisdom that creates the distinction between mercy, which is, basically being too much passivity, too much of a feminine energy, and then severity, which is too much aggression, which is too deep in the masculine energy. And in
Yeah.
between that, we have wisdom, because when
Oh.
wisdom is where is the amalgamation of precedent.
Precedence. Okay. Of what came before. Yep. That's true. That's true. Dude, this is so substantive. I'm enjoying all of this. Thank you so much. Um, it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to kind of take in. But yeah, I mean, I've always felt Leo risings are at that place now where they're deciding where they want to take their hero arc. Do they want to go villain? Do they want to become an anti-hero? Do they want to maintain heroism? So I've always seen Leo and Libra as the heroes of the zodiac.
And that is
Yeah.
necessarily like where I found myself, because it's ironic, because it's like I spend my time in like two ways almost. Like it's like I'm two different people, which I've ironically always sort of felt. Like a part of me is like I'm always in basically like a like going to like hardcore like punk shows. Like all my friends are in this hardcore punk scene. They've actually kind of generated and created this whole scene here in Central Arizona. And necessarily as an onlooker, you would see this and be like, wow, this is dark or whatever as fuck. Like this is like demonic necessarily, even though it's just very like heavy and it's rooted in a lot of other things. And then I also spend my other time like with like the community I'm in, that's a part of like with the boxing. Like my coach, he has an LLC for his boxing that's literally called Kingdom Boxing, like the Kingdom of Heaven. So it's almost like I'm like a middleman between this aspect that's more heavenly, and then this aspect that's more like demonic, but really they're just necessarily expressions of the same quality of things, just in different polarities. And I always, and about myself, I always, because other than this, like it's funny, like I have this whole get up, but otherwise, like I'm always walking around dressed in black clothing, like having necessarily generating the perception of a certain persona. But in reality, my real self is sort of more like this. It's just otherwise difficult to bring this out in a way that isn't something like this, because even this is basically a relatively recent invention that's been the almost like a zeitgeist moment for me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is
Okay.
in essence like me finding a way to create my own balance amongst all these things.
Right. Yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to you expanding that, your self concept, the symbol you shared. Like, that's awesome. Someone asked if you had a YouTube channel, but I did plug your Instagram. So for anyone who wants
I've
to follow,
I've like sort of started a YouTube channel. I have like a few like really short videos on it.
what's it
It's
called?
just otherwise like ironically like I struggle to talk in front of a camera, like just when it's me, like it almost seems like it creates like a loss for me.
Mhm.
Whereas like otherwise, like I always say like, oh, I'm a live show, like like I'm something you have to come see live.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's true. That's Leo live on stage, the performer live on stage. I feel like Aquarius is behind camera. So like I so appreciate that. Even though I mean you'll get used to it. You got this. But I mean if you would you like to share it or did you just want to keep it private for now?
Um, I would like to share it. It's a if I can hold on look at it myself, pull it up on my phone here. But it's basically named. It's actually named after the symbol itself. Because along with the symbol, I'll go into this more. I've actually registered this symbol. Like it's technically a licensed image, but it's
Nice.
licensed under this thing it's licensed under this thing called Creative Commons, and it's licensed as a what they call a free cultural work.
Okay.
And so a free cultural work, what that is, when something is like licensed under that condition, is basically anyone for any reason at all can use the symbol and necessarily do whatever they want with it, whether it be
Nice.
for personal reasons, monetary reasons, non-monetary reasons, for even political or religious reasons.
Creative
They
Commons.
can
Okay.
basically use the symbol for wherever they want. And my intentions with the symbol is basically like proliferate it to an extent where basically everybody has their own grail, right? Because when you think about the grail as like the cup, it's like, well, what does everybody fill their cup with?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a page for the grail itself, that my intentions, my desire is like for people to take the grail, do whatever it is they do with it, like artistically or otherwise, and then I can use that platform as a medium to share what they've done with the symbol, as well as to highlight
Right.
they
Oh,
themselves
that's
as a.
genius. Yo, good shit, bro. I'm looking forward to that. And all power to you. What's the name of your YouTube?
If you want the YouTube, it's all capital letters, GRVILXIII.
Grail with a E.
No, Grail with a it's Grail spelled with instead of an A with a like a VI like six.
Oh, V. Oh, a VI. Okay, I put E. My bad. Oh, there we go. I see it. Boom. Oh, I love it. I see it. I see it. Okay, I'm gonna share that. For you guys who want to see what it looks like, I'm gonna put the link in the description box right now. I just saved it, so you update that, you'll see that. I see the symbol. Dude, you're so freaking awesome. Thank you so much again for sharing that. So we are on our last round of questioning. Um, what's your last question?
Let's see, what is my last question? So where would you like to where would you like to take your development? Like what do you see as basically the highest level of what it is that you do?
Dude, I'm amazed that you asked because for so long I struggled with that. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't even know what um I I I didn't even know what that could be. I always kept it open-ended. And it's not until now, this Sagittarius season, I decided this is the season I'm going to begin to see what that looks like. So, literally, the next week, I'm just going to be visualizing what do I want my corporation to look like? What does the success look like? What do I want to achieve? And what I've been picking up more than ever now is what it looks like is on a very grand, ambitious scale, a whole totalitarian regime. But beyond that, mainly, really, innovating education. I want to build a kindergarten to PhD campus. So instead of going to different grade schools, it's a one stop shop school that is a town campus. You know what I'm saying? It's like one building where you have everything, but like different parts of the neighborhood are different parts of like this expansive campus that hosts a lot of orphans too who can get free education. So I want to teach like magic science, astrological sciences, psychic arts, uh, the art of assassination, soul reaping, like really just abstract, supernatural, grounded, things, as well as high level math, science. Like we're reteaching these kids biology and physics, but with spiritual wisdom, and I just want to go on a world tour and find all the dopest people in the world to move forward on this movement with and fucking make this movement. And what I want to do short term is really do events now. So I feel like we've built something here, and with extra capital and resources, the next move for me is to just tour like every 2 weeks or every month and go to New York, go to Arizona, go to Texas, and just build community. I want to really build my life around going around the world, hitting up a community, getting all the artists, the music, the speakers, and just keep doing events so we can just keep meeting and just get lit. So that's really the next stage. That and the university. So,
That's crazy because back up to your basically your Xavier School for the Gifted idea. I have the
yeah.
exact same idea
You know what's
where
crazy?
it's like,
Sorry, my
yeah.
someone approached me to build an occult university, and it was a Libra. It was actually a Libra. So you're the second person to say this. Who's also a Libra. I fucking love that. But please go ahead.
But necessarily everything you actually just said is also kind of what I want to do.
Dude, that's all. Let's do it.
Especially given like I've been saying for a while, like to some of the people close to me, is like I don't know exactly how I'll be able to do this, but I basically want to be Hermes for a living.
Right. Right. When I was young, like my mom asked me what I wanted to do, and I thought the highest thing I could be was like not even the highest thing. I just thought the job was I want to be a cash store register because I thought that's what you should do. Like, oh yeah, I want to be in the corner store and just But then I realized my real passion is teaching, and I really want to be a teacher. But I love what you said, just being Hermes. You know what I'm saying? Like just making magic formulas and doing all that. Where is Mercury in your chart?
I have my Mercury's in Scorpio.
Oh, nice. Okay, near your moon. That's what's up, dude. I mean, I look forward to creating this vision with you. I can't see how it's not aligned. So I support whatever you do, and I definitely look forward to working with you too. So that's awesome. I was really heartwarming. You see that same vision, because I really see it as y'all generation that's going to really fuel that. It's going to be y'all that push that forward. So uh, just looking forward to it, because I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. But yeah, if I had a whole bunch of money, if I had like millions of dollars, that's the first thing I would do. I would buy a bunch of land, possibly out here in Nevada. And have you seen Soul Eater?
I've seen some of Soul Eater.
Yeah, I kind of want to build my own Shibusen Academy, but also, Xavier School for the Gifted, all that, just Hogwarts, just put all that together. And, it is a community effort. It is going to involve all of us bringing our gifts together. So that's just the hope and excitement that seeing come together. This is why you guys are so fucking awesome, because, a lot of this was just in my head, but now I'm seeing, no, there's so many real people who we all resonate and vibe on that, and bring in our gifts. And I feel like this holy grail that you've brought into play is definitely um just gonna expand so amazingly. And my final question for you is, if you were in a classroom of 5-year-olds or a first grade, you know what I'm saying, what is a red pill or gem of wisdom you would give to them?
I guess something like that. It's more like, what is, when without giving necessarily a free mind that's at its most heightened point of development and expansion. Instead of giving something to color in and telling them to stay in the lines, I want to see what they would necessarily do out of their own accord. Because I feel
Right.
like a lot of, my mother always says that we are as we are, and we are born to be who we are meant to be. And a lot of the
Yeah.
times, like especially in my experience, like coming up, like going to so many schools and just like being around so many different kind of people and just having to kind of be in the system as we all have to be. A lot of what we experience is, in a sense, whether it's direct or indirect, however you want to interpret that, is meant to stifle us. Is meant to stifle our. It's basically meant to hinder and block your spirit and put you in
It's
a
like
box.
nerfing.
And I think it's like nerfing you, yeah. And I think that's very like Saturnian Capricornian in a sense, where it's like they make the little playpen, and then they want to put the animals in the playpen, and then they insist that the animals stay in that pen, and then they just breed them to be in that pen for whatever it is they need them to be, which is usually as a creature, a creature of burden, if you will. Like we're all burdened with the task, or how it's presupposed is we're all burdened to be born, to have our number, to work our jobs that necessarily only facilitate the creation of this sense of what we would like to believe is expansion, but is really more like a further, how do you say, a further imprisonment of our own actual true free spiritual self. Because I mean, you think about it, like the ground, the very concrete that you walk on is built in such a way that it's damaging your feet. You're not meant to walk on a straight ground like that. You need to be walking on the the bare earth, to feel the bare earth, to really be connected, to really get all those free flowing electrons, to really understand where you are. Like this again is going into some other stuff, but some people, like their hips are unaligned because of how and where they're standing, because your brain is calibrating where you are. And a lot of this comes out of, necessarily it's an imbalance that comes out of the brain not recognizing where it is. And I
Oh,
feel like we, other than just that, which may seem like a small, like almost irrelevant example, I think affects a lot of us more ways than we think, in ways that we are not immediately aware, where we think it's generating from ourselves, but it's really generating from this, mm, from the system of control that we all have to inhibit in. Like you think about the reason why people act the way they act towards each other in times of necessarily something that is, like when we generate negative responses from each other towards each other, it's not necessarily out of place of like, well, this person is just that, so whatever. Like the dichotomy of good and evil doesn't necessarily exist under that notion. What it is somebody who is necessarily in pain, feels like they don't have a voice, is striking out against what they think is causing them that pain under the assumption that it's going to alleviate that feeling and give them, and so they can regain a sense of control. And oftentimes what I see in this world is exactly that. Like people are doing the things they do to, in their own sense of self, regain what they feel like is control because they never actually had it in the first place or never felt like they got a chance to have it in the first place.
Yeah, dude, that's so fucking deep. Yeah, I love that. And so that's basically what you do by allowing kids to color outside lines.
To just, there are no lines.
There are no lines, right? It's just free form, like to really express yourself.
You
I
know,
love that.
if they don't want to color, they don't have to. Maybe they just want to run around. And maybe with running around, they'll find like they'll basically create a new sport. Or maybe the kids that will
Right.
color, they'll create a work of art.
That's so awesome. Wow. If anything, um, that's something to think about when, kind of innovating education and moving forward. But bro, thank you so much again. I'm definitely gonna invite you back on and come up with ideas to and topics to expand on the Holy Grail. I'm gonna check out your videos for sure. I put the link to the Instagram and YouTube's in the description box. So, in conclusion, do you have any final words of wisdom, or and how can people reach you if they want to get to know you or reach you?
Well, people can reach me. So people can reach me through my social media channels. I'm open to any and all discussion whatsoever. Like, and I myself am an open book. If anyone would like to know more or is curious about anything, I would be happy to talk to them. And really anything. Like if you want to talk about literally anything, if you want to talk about, if you just need a friend, I'll be your friend.
That's awesome. Someone to be there for. Yeah, that's heroic to me. That's what's up. That's what I do admire about the Libra vibration. It's just very selfless in a sense, I mean, Pisces be selfless, but let me not get too zodiac. Either way, yeah, is there any words of advice you have for people walking this path?
I think the best thing I can say to people is don't allow your fear to dictate your actions. Don't allow your own sense of sense of insecurity to decide who it is that you are and who it is that you will be. I think it's best to recognize that your capacity for change, your capacity for what you perceive as your own greatness can only be realized by yourself. It's great it's great to show others and it's great to shine your light among others, but the only person who can truly illuminate yourself is you. And the only person who can judge what that is you. Because you think about it, nobody knows you the way that you know you. People don't even know you as they know you because they don't even know you personally. They would have to be in your head with you, they would have to live your life with you. All they know is what they know about themselves and what they perceive about the world around them and the people around them. And they
Yeah,
make judgments based on that.
that's
So the
deep.
best thing
Yeah,
that so the best thing really is to just ironically be yourself. And a lot of people think that means present the best version of yourself, but being yourself really just means being authentic. And sometimes being authentic isn't the most beautiful thing in the world. It doesn't have to be the ugliest thing, but it isn't always the most beautiful thing. But it's the truest thing, it's the realest thing.
yeah, that's beautiful. Remain authentic, stay true. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Please show him some love. Isaiah, thank you so much again for joining. Your presence is a huge blessing. And we look forward to seeing you expand your gifts and this concept moving forward. So you guys stay blessed as always. And make sure you watch this peace talk a couple more times. There's definitely more gems you'll come into. And until next time, Peace.